Hello, hello. One moment, please. One moment, please.
Was it the Chad?
Good morning, everyone. A little late starting here, but yeah. So it's the day of the Million Man March. I got one person watching. Hey, hello, hello, hello. Whoever's in there. Harley Dad, Caesar, Ashcan. Good morning. So I'm just standing down here by West Block at the moment. I'm going to head up to where the Million Man March is. And we already got some anti-protesters here. I'll switch the camera angle, everyone. Just give me a moment here. Camera. Backside. As you can see there, we've got them down there. So I'm just going to set this up here for a minute. It's going to be a twisted angle just because I'm finishing packing up my bag. Yep, heading up there in a moment. How is everyone on this Friday morning? Beautiful Friday morning. There we go. I left my thing and I was like, holy shit, it's not even mine, it's Sonia's. No worries, I'm sure I saw it, I grabbed it. Of course. Good thing I left you there. Oh, I was setting up sorting my life, you were lucky. So as always, of course, we cannot have a peaceful march or rally or any kind, especially when it has to do with children. There's the anti-protesters on the other side already. They had to show up and anti-protest this march for the children. Come on, get a life. And of course, we have the liaison officers out, but some of them are pretty decent guys, and they try to be a little more polite and courteous and respectful to us. So we don't have a problem. Christine, of course, C2 talking to them already. And this would be, let me see. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. I know who you are, but I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. Of course. Hello, how are you?
Good, good. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too, brother. I can't really hug you because I got too much going, but
Good enough.
Good enough, yes. Good morning, ladies. How are you? Good to see ya. I'm actually live, so on YouTube. Some of my Freedom Sisters, as always, coming up, give me some loving. Hello, LeBlanc, how are you? How you doing, man? Freedom! Freedom! Now, if anything happens that I do lose my live, Chris Stacy is here too as well. Good, how are you?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Been a while, yeah. I can't really hug you too much. I got live going and coffee on the go and a
Hey, a nice shirt, but hey.
thank you. Want to say anything to YouTube?
YouTube. How's YouTube doing? We're doing well, man. You know? But again, look what's happening. We're for the kids. They cannot make kids, basically. Maybe they can, but whatever. But at the end, why are they protesting when it's a day for kids?
Yeah.
We're not protesting for freedom today. We're standing for kids, for the next generation.
But we are showing that we are freedom fighters.
Oh yeah.
Of
I'm
course.
a proud freedom fighter, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're a freedom fighter, it's just to be proud and honored to be a
Exactly.
person that defends the human rights, that defends the nonsense, that defends the truth. The truth is the most important thing. We're
Exactly.
living into a world of lies.
Well, exactly. Why? And I mean, why should we be living in the world of lies?
That's it.
I'm going to try to keep it on the chat here as much as I can today. So, awesome. Awesome, Ash. Thank you, brother. Thank you for sharing it out on X. Share it. Look, make sure you share it wherever you can, people. It's going to be a interesting day. I mean, we already have the LGBTQ. I mean, LGBTQ Alphabet Plus group that thinks they have more rights than everybody else and that they can come out and demonstrate and not get in trouble. Yeah, well, this is all for the kids, and they're already starting their anti-hate towards what we're standing for.
I wouldn't want you as my brother anyway. I'd be ashamed of you. Well, I'm not killing anybody's children. I've always stood up for the rights of children. Fuck you, Evan. Okay, what about the priests who keep molesting children in your church? I'm not a priest. I'm not okay. Well, why don't you protect your kids from the priests? Huh? Protect my kids from the priests. As a matter of fact, I just started a Catholic church. Excellent.
And of course, there is always misjudging and.
You're the ones who are making up this fucking bullshit about mutilating kids. You're arguing with your goddamn self. No, I'm not arguing with you.
C2, how are you?
Shorts are a little too short for Catholic
Oh God, I'm leaving in like 20 minutes.
Don't you think you're just ridiculous? How short your shorts are? That's atrocious. You're showing your legs. Are you a slut? Are you a slut? What about your shorts? You're showing too much
Where's
legs.
Lila?
Your God is ashamed of you. Same with you. Your skirt's too short.
That's all they got, eh? Like, I've got a lot. I'm live. The people on my live are watching. People on my live that are watching. We're all kind of. Imagine you're all chuckling. They're sitting here insulting us about what we're wearing, and they wear dildos and all kinds of other crap outside in public.
Fascist, all these words mean nothing anymore.
Yeah.
They've made them so that they literally mean nothing.
Well-
Both sides. Both sides of the game. All sides of the game. There's more than two.
Of course,
Literally, nothing means like sorry. Sorry means nothing anymore.
well, sorry is kind of a common phrase for us here in Canada, though. I mean,
That's
like,
what I mean. We've
kind of made
numbed
it.
it. We've numbed the meaning of it.
Yeah, we've numbed the meaning of it,
I tell people like
and of course,
you're
they're.
only be sorry for things you can control. You can't be sorry for something you can't control. People need to understand that. Overused words.
Exactly.
Meaning.
Exactly.
Everything loses.
You don't know.
No, they
It's all around.
not unlike some of us who actually did get a formal education. Most of them don't.
Should have been up there. I'm not allowed on the lorry either, but everybody else should have ignored them and been with the speeches.
I was out there. We got coffee, and I said, "Oh, they got
Well, I'm enjoying my I'm enjoying my morning
They
Christine.
thought I was. They threw me in a hot car for an hour and a half. Found out I wasn't. Released me and trespassed.
So there you go. Like I said, they trespass people for no reasons. This is C2, one of
I
our
was
local citizen journalists.
I was exercising my rights on the hill, protesting Jagmeet.
Yeah, protesting Jagmeet. You got and
And they thought I had a trespass when I didn't.
but then they tricked them because you didn't. They gave you one. So there you go. And this happens all the time with us. And most of us.
I might have got somebody to help me yesterday. I asked him, the member of parliament, and he said, email him. He's going to try to help me. At least get, because they're not replying to my emails.
At least get it.
Gonna try get PBS to at least reply to my emails. Because I don't know their reason for giving it to me because it didn't say it on the paper.
Oh,
It says you have to email them to find out the reason.
And then they're
So
not
I've been
answering.
emailing them, finding out the reason, and they're not replying.
Yeah. Well, how long was the trespass for?
A year.
A year? So they did, so basically you're trespassed for a year for no reason. And then I
Well,
give it
because I wasn't trespassed. I said.
because you weren't trespassed and they didn't and then but yet they didn't give you a reason why you weren't trespassed why you were trespassed. Which really
Well,
which
it all
really if you were,
started because they thought I was,
yeah, well no, I get it.
which was a common mistake. They've done that many times.
Oh yeah, they've done it for me, but they get to trespass me.
All right. I'm done wasting my breath on you and giving my crown to someone else.
Well, I'm just gonna stay here for a few more minutes and actually I'm gonna walk and enjoy my coffee. Hey Carl. So I'm gonna head up to the hill here where the speeches are and listen to the speeches.
These perverted programs have been started by pedophiles and child porn pornography. including our deputy health minister in Ontario, instituted the early part of the SOGI 123 book, sexual orientation, gender identity. 1, 2, 3.
Howard, our sign
And
guy's
we
actually up there
pray for the
speaking right
Guys.
now. So I'll just come
There's
up here
no
by
pride
this
in
for a bit.
sexualization, indoctrination. And 20% of increase in suicides from children who transition. Do they care about that? No. And another fact that I'm working on more signs, but transgenderism leads to transhumanism leads to depopulation. This is the bigger picture that we have to focus on. And the WEF and the UN, United Nations, the WHO, they are destroying this world, fooling everyone. And we should be ashamed of our parliament, who's complicit 100%. Not everyone falls prey to the lies, but they are afraid to speak too, just like us. So we need to have a vote of non-confidence. We need the police and military to do their job, to uphold the law, to protect us from enemies, both foreign and domestic. Following orders no longer is good enough. They lied. They lied about everything. And this is creating cognitive dissonance on a wide scale. One more. We need God back in our lives so we can remain glorious and free. And this flag is all we need. Everyone, including the counter-protesters, have to realize this before it's too late. Some of them will eventually come around if they see these messages, contemplate it, use their eyes to see, their ears to hear, and their hearts to understand what's really going on. Perhaps there is still hope. Thank you. Thank you very much.
How you doing, bud? How are you? Good to see you.
Gonna be a busy day, you think?
Oh, I think it's going to be a very busy day.
Did you get some of the?
Oh yeah, I went live before I came up to the thing. I'm like online, so I'm running live today. But I got the other
Oh,
one out
thank you,
just in
Howard.
case I need it, right?
You always know when Howard's at a gathering because he's got so many signs. God bless him for that work.
Sign of the time. We can talk with Howard later as well. Get a chat with him. Always,
All
anytime.
right, we have our next speaker on hand here.
As I've said in the short
This
that's
is
on
a
my
real
YouTube
pleasure
channel,
for me
everyone.
because I reference the
The
fact
world-
that every
Your
year
sign's upside down. No.
on these
The world's
streets we have a
upside down,
March for
everyone. The
Life.
world
One of
is
the
upside
people
down. The sign's not upside down. The
instrumental
world is upside down.
in organizing that march every year. That, as I say, always gets underrated by the mainstream media. But those of us who have been here throughout the years know how many people come out for that March for Life. And it's Jack Fonseca, who is the president of the Campaign Life Coalition. He's done a hell of a job over the years on the pro-life file. And he's doing a heck of a job fighting against gender ideology. So it's a real pleasure because I've written over the years for Campaign Life's media outlet. And you can always say things for Campaign Life that other media organizations don't want to touch. Because it's honest, it's frank, and it's completely objective. So Jack Fonseca is the Director of Political Operations at Campaign Life Coalition. He's been with Campaign Life Coalition since 2009 in a variety of positions, such as communications, marketing, media, and fundraising. And Jack is the media spokesperson for Campaign Life Coalition. and has appeared on CTV, CBC, and numerous other TV, radio, and newspaper outlets. And Jack is married and is a father of 2. So please give a hearty welcome to Jack right now.
All right, thank you very much, David. And, I'm honored to stand here with all you Canadian patriots. We are united under one flag, one nation under God. Black, white, brown, yellow, all different religions. We're united together in this common belief that our children belong to us, that we are the primary educators of our kids, and that it is incumbent on us and us alone to guide them in the morals and values and religious beliefs that they are to carry through their lives, hopefully. And we are here to demand that our schools cease and desist their LGBT indoctrination of children. We are parents and grandparents and concerned citizens. And we are united, as I said, in the belief that we're the primary educators and moral guides of our children. Not that sex activist teacher with purple hair, with no life experience, no children of her own, and no religion, but who hangs the gay pride rainbow on her door that substitutes for spirituality. She is not the parents. You are. Not the anti-family child sexualizing school trustees, superintendents, and directors of education who impose transgender ideology and homosexual propaganda on your kids. They're not co-parents of your child. You're the sole parents. Not the morally corrupt politicians and nameless, faceless, unelected bureaucrats working in the ministries of education. They have no right to indoctrinate your children with their personal crusade for sexual revolution. You, the mother and father, are the only ones who have a God-given right, predating the state, to form the moral and religious beliefs on human sexuality in your children. And likewise, the myriad of LGBTQ pressure groups whose coffers Justin Trudeau has been filling with hundreds of millions in taxpayer cash so they can develop countless programs to brainwash your children in school and out of school. They are not the co-parents of your kids, and they have no right to imprint their personal beliefs on them. How dare they interfere with our children and demand ever more control over what our children learn and believe. And I tell you, despite the talk of the left, we do not have a problem of white privilege and white supremacy in Canada. No, what we have is a problem of gay privilege and gay supremacy in Canada. This is where the LGBT lobby demands total control over the education of our children and control to exclude you, the parents. All of these people I've mentioned pretend to care about children, but rather they are gravely harming these kids. They are committing child abuse. The most obvious example lies in the teaching of gender identity theory in schools, producing this sexual confusion in the minds of thousands and thousands of kids across Canada. Now, how can I say with confidence that the teaching of gender identity theory in class, the belief that there are more than two sexes, and that biology does not determine whether one is male or female?
I will say one
How can I
thing,
know that
even going when I do go on the march, I actually do
Well,
feel
we need
very,
only
very
look
safe.
at the facts that school-
As
at the
you can
facts
see
that
here,
schools
I'm
are
just going
now
to show
in the
quickly.
business of
This is one of the
encouraging
key
kids to
organizers.
explore and discover
And of course,
whether
he's
they
got
might be
security people this
transgender.
year, which is
And then
amazing.
once they've
I'm glad
nudged
to
the
see
kids
you
into
guys out.
thinking this way to affirm their delusion of
They
being
know
of the
they knew
opposite
to watch
sex
for.
and to facilitate social
And they
transition,
also know to look
followed
to
by
some of us
puberty
for
blockers and
guidance,
cross-sex hormones, which puts many of
which
them
is
on the
amazing.
path
So,
to sex change surgery in the future. How does this cause harm? Does it really cause harm? Well, let's analyze the side effects of stage 1 in transitioning, puberty blockers, which are typically given between 10 to 12 years old. In spite of what we're told by the so-called experts, puberty blockers are not reversible. Researchers in Glasgow and Oslo University studying the effects of puberty blockers found that they produced lasting reduction in spatial memory and increased emotional instability. Researchers in New York studying the effects of puberty blockers in mice found that they produced depression, despair-like behavior in
How?
females.
I was just gonna
and
ask the same
hyperactivity
question.
in
How
males.
tall? I just felt like a big.
And this jives very well with research done on humans because the drug used in puberty blockers has been used for many years, controversially actually, to treat conditions like
Of course, also
endometriosis.
besides the security,
And
Justin
so we
Black,
know
we
that
got
the researchers
guys
long
with red
reported
vests. Anybody with a red vest that you see today is a volunteer
emotions,
helping out
and
the
executive
National
function.
Citizen Inquiry and the
Now,
Million Man
executive
March,
function is a medical term, and it's a
which
scientific term.
working together.
And what does that mean? Should we be concerned if our child's executive function gets impaired? Well, executive function means your ability to think adaptively, to plan, to organize, to manage your time, amongst other
Sorry, I'm
things.
moving away from this thing for a minute to put my cigarette out.
John Whitehall, a professor of pediatrics at Western Sydney University in Australia,
Ah.
has said that while
got
on
your
puberty
t-shirts and your
blockers,
mask.
quote, the volume of the brain
working, dude.
decreases at a rate 10 times faster
So am
than
I.
aging, end quote. Now, isn't that
Yeah, well, you're asking
astonishing?
questions I don't want to answer right
The
now.
volume of the brain on puberty, on these hormones decreases
I know.
at 10 times faster than the normal aging process. The healthcare and education system pushing affirmation of puberty blockers as a cure to gender confusion are literally causing their children's brain volumes to decrease.
Sorry, I'm moving.
This is
People, I
child
apologize.
abuse. There is research which suggests that puberty blockers cause
Don't forget to hit the
irreversible
like,
infertility.
share this out,
Now think about that. Do 10-year-olds
everyone.
really understand what they're consenting to? Can they possibly appreciate what that means, being rendered infertile forever? Puberty blockers can also make bones brittle, meaning they break more easily. That's osteoporosis. They can stunt bone growth. Now, a blocked child will often end up shorter than his or her peers, which, if you think
There,
about
sorry
it,
about that again.
can also very easily
Start
cause
working with one
distress
hand.
in children. Watching their peers grow and develop faster and taller than themselves. Stage 2 in transitioning is cross-sex hormones, which means giving high-dose testosterone to girls and high-dose estrogen to boys to produce and sustain the secondary characteristics of the opposite sex, such as facial hair on females and larger breasts in males. Children who do stage 1 puberty blockers almost always proceed to stage 2. But these extremely powerful hormones must be given for life and must be monitored for serious side effects, including cardiovascular disease, blood clots, and various cancers. Yes, hormone therapy is carcinogenic, and they're giving it to our kids. Studies have found that prolonged use of cross-sex hormones, which, as I said, must be given for life, are associated with increased risk for cancer, including cancers of the breast, prostate, ovaries, cervix, and vagina. Now, this sounds like a wonderful, safe, and effective medical treatment, doesn't it? What loving parent wouldn't want to put their child on a treatment plan like this, which makes your bones brittle, stunts your growth, makes you permanently infertile, and increases the risk of heart disease, blood clots, and all sorts of cancer? Stage 3 of transitioning is surgery to amputate perfectly healthy body parts and then to construct simulations of opposite sex genitals. This is difficult, and complications are common. According to Dr. John Whitehall, quote, tissue grafts may die. Holes created to look like a vagina can fill in. Tubes can obstruct. Openings can appear. Lengths of bone that are sometimes placed in the shaft may protrude. Bowels may perforate, and germs can invade, end quote. You can imagine this is not very pleasant. But this, my friends, is where all of our school boards, both public and Catholic throughout Canada and here in Ottawa, are trying to lead our precious children. Gone are the days when boards of education were concerned with developing the cerebral region in students, by helping them excel in reading, writing, and arithmetic. School boards and so many educators now push sexual ideologies nonstop. No, instead of the cerebral region, they seem to be fixated only on the pubic region. And this is why I've taken to calling them pubic schools. These are pubic school systems because that's all they seem to care about. And whether it's a pubic secular school or a pubic Catholic school system, their leaders are totally obsessed with sexual indoctrination of children. Here in Ontario, for example, standardized testing scores in math and science have been falling year after year for more than a decade. But sexual programming, including gender identity theory, eats up more and more of the school calendar every single year, and thus shunts more impressionable kids down that transgender corridor that I described, which is so dangerous and deadly. But we have to ask, is this unprecedented intrusion into the minds and bodies of children necessary? What will happen if parents do nothing but watch and wait while their child fantasizes about its gender? Can the child grow out of it? Is that possible? Well, scientific studies prove that the vast majority of children who identify as transgender will grow out of it through puberty if parents do little more than gently watch and wait. Unbelievably, this likelihood of growing out of it is admitted in no less than the official Diagnostic and Statistics Manual of the American Psychiatric Association, which is the Bible of psychiatry. In the current version, the DSM-5, it states that up to 98% of boys and up to 88% of girls have been reported to desist from their delusion of being the opposite sex or being trapped in the wrong body prior to the onset of puberty. That's 98% of boys and 88% of girls. And yet we're told that if we don't put them in puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones and put them on the path towards mutilating sex change surgeries, there's going to be massive suicides among children. But if we leave them alone, these ideas will go away. That's what the stats show. They will desist. They will embrace their biological reality, their God-given bodies. They won't have a problem with it anymore. So now I'd like to address the suicide myth pushed by the establishment media, by our schools, by the medical community going along with this dangerous, dangerous experiment, and by the politicians who support it or bow down to it. They all say that if we don't help children transition, if we don't immediately affirm their gender delusion, their sexual delusion that they're trapped in the wrong body, that they're going to commit suicide. So we've got to do this to save them from suicide, we are told. Well, that is complete rubbish. The most authoritative study in the world on the health effects of sex change surgery to post-operative transsexuals was a Swedish cohort study done by the very liberal, very pro-gay Swedish government. That study followed post-operative transsexuals over many years, and what they found is that those who underwent sex change surgeries had a 19.2 times higher rate of death by suicide 10 to 20 years later, post-surgery, compared to the general
Of course, there's a lot of
population.
speeches. You can
Now
also
take
watch
that in.
Canadian Free Living if
That's
I'm
not
not
a
as well. If I'm
19%
not
higher rate
if
of
I'm not
suicide.
live.
A 19-fold increase
I
in
probably will
suicide
split
deaths
this up into
means
two,
a
just because speeches
1,900%
in March.
increase
But
in
Canadian
suicide
Free
death
Living over here filming as
associated
well, so check
with
him
sex
out.
change surgeries.
Um,
So by affirming a transgender identity in students and thus encouraging puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, schools are necessarily putting many of these impressionable children, and some who are doing it as a fad, on the path to a sex change surgery later in life. We know this. Now what that means, given the statistic I mentioned from that authoritative Swedish cohort study, is that these schools will be responsible for putting children in body bags, for killing them. The schools, politicians, medical establishment that repeats this lie, this myth, will be complicit in the suicides of these children later in life, perhaps 10 to 20 years later, but nonetheless, suicide for many of them who follow the path of transgender identification, the logical conclusion of gender ideology. which is sex change surgery, when they regret the irreversible changes that they made to their body and regret them. But don't worry, Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party have a solution. If you become so depressed, so suicidal, and regretful of what you did to your body, how you mutilated it, how you castrated or got a double mastectomy or had your uterus removed, they have a solution. They've made it easy to kill yourself. They've legalized euthanasia, and just recently they've made very close efforts to expand it for reasons of mental health and depression. So if you're horribly depressed because you regret the mutilation of your body 15 years ago, or even recently, they can help kill you. Justin Trudeau can help kill you. He's made it legal. This figure alone on the suicides from the Swedish government cohort study should end the debate once and for all about whether encouraging children to transition should be banned or allowed in Canada. At least for those under 18, it should be banned. It should be illegal
And of course,
in
also amongst
every
security is a
province
veteran, I
and
see.
territory
So
nationwide.
I will say thank you to the
It
service
should be
for
a
anybody watching
crime.
me too.
If not for everybody,
myself
including
as well.
adults. So why is it happening? Why is Justin Trudeau, the leader of our country, pushing transgender ideology on kids, promoting it, encouraging teachers to indoctrinate kids with this ideology in schools, knowing, I'm sure that he knows some of these statistics on the negative health effects
Mighty
of gender
Race.
ideology and
How are
sex
you?
change surgeries. So why is he doing it? Why is he encouraging these kids to, at some point in their lives, end up in a body bag, dead from suicide, mutilated, depressed? I think the man is a sociopath. I think Justin Trudeau is an absolute sociopath. He has murderous intent, and there's a common thread in what he's done. He's causing the deaths of these kids at some point in their life by getting them, encouraging them, and creating the conditions for them to mutilate themselves, to castrate themselves. He's encouraging the slaughter of unborn children in the womb through abortion. He's legalized euthanasia,
that's
the
what it
killing of our
is.
seniors, the elderly,
Million
the
Man March for
disabled,
Children,
the depressed.
and right now they're doing their speeches.
He
so
has
maybe
murderous
just to catch up
intent,
to speed.
I believe. And so, this is an anti-human agenda. I could be persuaded that Justin Trudeau is an empty shell inhabited by a demonic spirit. You can make that argument and convince me. So I want to encourage everyone here to keep marching, keep fighting. We are winning the battle here. Slowly, we are making progress from coast to coast. More and more Canadians are waking up to the realization that our schools are doing something awfully wrong, that something has gone wrong in our education system, that they are harming the children, they're sexually confusing the children, and producing lifelong medical, physical, psychological, and spiritual harm to them. And our movement's growing. There are protests happening in the Million Person March for Children in Victoria, Calgary, Moncton, Fredericton, Kitchener, Toronto, all over the place. And let's keep it up. Thank you. God bless you.
There you go. They're all over.
Thank you so much,
spreading
Jack.
what
That was,
spreading this march
that's just
started last
fantastic,
year, and
Very
where they
educational.
spread it to already. So
We need to be reminded about science, the real science behind what we're proposing here. I want to introduce,
hello, Guru.
I want
Haven't
to
seen
say
you
a
in a
good
while.
friend. I only actually met Dr. Gillies a year ago. I had her on my show last Sunday to talk about this march. And it was
You're
just
welcome
a
to stay,
marvelous
Guru. But
conversation.
this
about
is probably
all of
stuff
these
that
things that
you
are
you could
affecting
talk
us.
about if you want to.
I just want to
But-
say about, Jack is responsible for LifeSite News as part of his job with Campaign Life Coalition. Have a look at LifeSite News. It is a phenomenal website. It does great news. I don't know how many times I've seen stories on LifeSite that say, hey, we got to do something.
Here's one of the organizers, Camille. How you doing, Camille?
Good. How are you,
Good.
sir? Thank you
Good.
for coming on.
Not a
again.
problem.
Thank you for your support.
You're live on the Chad Media.
Hello, everybody. God bless you. God keep our
Alternative
land glorious and
media,
free.
because
Sorry, I just
Yeah.
overshadowed that.
I know.
And
I know. We'll chat. We'll
mainstream
chat more
media
later,
still
though.
thinks
Definitely,
that's
brother.
the only show
Thank
in
you.
town.
Thank you for coming on.
Talk to some of these journalists that they're living in an alternate universe. They really don't understand. The audience is gone. It's like they're talking to an empty auditorium at times. Just look at the views some of these mainstream media is getting, like CBC. Some independent voices, most independent voices are getting more views per day on Facebook and on YouTube than CBC is or CTV is. They just don't get it though. They really think they're still doing the only job. So I want to
Nice.
introduce Dr. Ann Gillies, who is our next speaker. We talk about a one-woman show.
Yeah,
here.
Nude,
She
that
does
is Ash.
it all.
Nude,
She's
that
a
is Ash.
Canadian trauma
That's his new channel.
specialist. She's a pastor. She's an author, activist, speaker, rancher, wife, mother, and grandmother. Anne's skill in clear and brave communication is broad and expertly delivered across all avenues of media, as well as when you meet her in person. And she really, really does have a way of grabbing your attention when she speaks, either in person or in front of a crowd. Anne is energetic, good-natured, focused, kind, and with spine to spare. Don't you wish that we had more politicians with spine, that they could grow some? You know, I worked for a couple of politicians in my life who had spine, and they'd rather quit politics than quit their principles and quit their ideals. That's ultimately what they did, because they said, I'm not moving, I'm not changing, because I'd rather serve God than men. And who said that? It was Jesus Christ who said that. Where is your choice? Where is your allegiance? Who do you really want to please on this earth, God or men? That's a question every politician needs to ask him or herself. What are they in this for? Anyway, we'll finish. Dr. Gillies is a lover of truth and human flourishing, who courageously leads the charge against falsehood and harms in society, despite as well as because of the personal price she has paid. And I can tell you this from the bottom of my heart. Dr. Gillies is the real deal. Dr. Gillies, thank you for joining us today.
Dr.
Hello,
Gillies.
everyone. It is wonderful to be here with you today. And I'm old school, so I actually typed out some notes. I'm not sure how this is going to work. I'm probably going to drop them as I go through them, but you can bear with me. I thank Jack Francesca for speaking all the stats to you, because I didn't bring stats so much with me today, so I'm really thankful that he did that. I'm going to talk to you about three things today: faith, family, and freedom, because those three things are on the chopping block in Canada and have been for a long time. And we need to understand that they're the very bedrock of our society: faith, family, and freedom. It's all under assault, and it's being assaulted by the ideologies that we're hearing about. Those ideologies include Marxism, queer theory, and gender ideology. Now there's more, absolutely, but those are three. So if you think of what we're here to promote, faith, family, and freedom, Marxism, queer theory, and gender ideology are on the other side of the scale. They want to turn upside down everything that is reality. Queer theory is all about deconstructing the family, and we need to stand firm for our families.
Thank you. I'm live right now, so
Figure this out a little better here.
figure
So,
somebody should be right.
There we go.
Queer theory,
Oh.
all these,
Even though you're live.
these three,
It's okay.
queer theory, Marxism, and
That's
gender
okay.
ideology have gained traction in the workplace, in our public schools, and all public institutions across Canada. And it's not just Canada, folks, of course. But you know, when you now apply for a driver's license, it's what gender are you?
Kind of
Not
sort
what
of happens.
sex
Sorry,
are you.
people.
We need to come back to
so
the
maybe who I
basic
was.
language. It's not about gender, it's about
No.
biological sex.
But I'll talk more about
Marxism
me. You know,
seeks to
not
replace the
about me
role
today.
of faith with the
So,
state.
I'll talk
Faith
more about me tomorrow
is-
night.
is
Tune in tomorrow night. I'll have a live as
directly
well. So we talk
oppositional to
more about me.
Marxism.
But anyway,
So Marxist theology
my guest will be
wants
Rosie
to replace faith.
Convoy
So we are
and Raven
here
Dark
today
Media.
because
So
we
be
have
part two
a
of
faith. Now, we may
two-parter.
not
That was
share
what we
the
agreed
same
to do.
faith,
So
But we have a faith and we have freedom of religion still in Canada. But we have to join together and we have to stick together
Back
to
to
keep that.
regular scheduled
Because
programming.
everything that's coming against us wants to destroy our freedoms. Marxism does undermine the very basic
I'll talk more
belief
about
in the
that
supremacy
later,
of
too.
God that was one of the foundational concepts of our country, of Canada. It is the foundation for our laws and values. Without faith, there is no moral compass to guide our society, and we're left with a system where power dictates what is right and wrong, not moral absolutes, not kindness, not generosity, but power. The more powerful you are politically or monetarily, the more you can control other people. But that's not the principle that Canada was built on. Queer theory and gender dysphoria, gender ideology, erode the foundation of faith by promoting ideas that are fundamentally at odds with religious teaching. Faith communities have been pushed to accept concepts of sexuality. And you and I know that many, certainly within the Christian realm, many congregations have capitulated to the ideology, to LGBTQ pressure. But you know, family's still the primary institution where values are taught and nurtured. And it's here, it's in the family that children learn to love and respect, and they learn responsibility. We must encourage our families to stand strong. That's why we're here today, where Marxism views the family as an institution that needs to be dismantled. That's why politically we're in trouble, folks, because this is happening all across Canada.
Very gracious
Queer
person,
theory and
ducking
gender
under the camera.
ideology
Thank you.
promote ideas that the traditional family structures, so man, woman, husband, wife, and children, are outdated and oppressive. Did you know that because you're a white heterosexual father, that you're oppressive? I mean, these are the I would say this is the craziness that is propagated by queer theory. That anything that is rational has become irrational. And we need to take back those things that we have lost. It undermines the rights of parents to raise their children according to their own values and beliefs. The erosion of family authority poses a significant threat to the security and stability of our society. If we erode, if we allow the very foundation of our families to be destroyed, that will threaten everything in our society. It is the bedrock of our society. We have to encourage families, and we need to step out and stand up for young people, to encourage them to have children and not listen to the rhetoric that somehow children are awful and they're gonna, it's gonna make climate change, horrible if we have children and all the rhetoric that goes with that. I'm not gonna get into that. Queer theory and gender ideology pose a threat to our freedoms in Canada, particularly the freedom of speech and the freedom of religion. And it includes the mandates of using specific language. Remember Jordan Peterson in 2016 stood before Parliament and cautioned parliamentarians on what we would call the trans pronoun bill. Well, look what's happened, folks. He was absolutely right. The language, we are forced to acknowledge the preferred pronouns, penalizing individuals and organizations that refuse to comply, and bowing to LGBTQ activists. We have nothing against individuals on their own. We're not telling you that these people are evil. That's not what we're about. We're talking about the activism and the actual underlying theories and the agendas. It's crucial that we reaffirm our commitment to faith, family, and freedom as the guiding principles of our society. We need to join arms and link arms together and promote these things. We must return to a belief in the supremacy of God as the foundation for our laws and values. This doesn't mean imposing a particular religion or religious view on other people, but it recognizes a higher moral authority. Guess what? Prime Minister Trudeau, you are not God. You are not God. There is a higher moral authority over Canada and over this world. And we need to come back to that realization, the ethical grounding for our society. Faith encourages us to see each person
Well
as
said, Ash.
inherently valuable. You are valuable, David. You are valuable, Camille. You are valuable, people. You are valuable. Each one of you is unique. You are valuable. And you are valuable in God's eyes. You are deserving of respect. And we need to provide moral clarity to our young people to navigate the complex issues of sexuality. In fact, not just to our young people, folks, all people across Canada. We must bring them back to their roots because they're confused. It doesn't matter if they're 18 or 8 or 80. They're all confused with what's going on in our society. And we must come back to the supremacy of God to lead us together to truth. We must strengthen families to fulfill their role in society, protecting the rights of parents and freeing them from the interference of state and educational institutions. We must encourage our politicians as much as we can, but we must encourage them to promote policies that encourage family structure and demand education respect the values of parents and families rather than undermining them. We must vigorously defend the principle of freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of conscience. Canadians must be free to express their beliefs without fear of retribution. They must not be forced to conform to these ideologies and that violate their very values, their core values. We must stand against these ideologies. Marxism, queer theory, gender ideologies threaten the principle of faith, family, and freedom. Just a couple more pages. These ideologies do seek to weaken the family unit and erode Canadian freedoms. And parents, you must recognize and resist these ideologies. Keep your eyes open. Look to what's happening. We must honor the dignity of all and not allow the deconstruction or destruction of our precious children with gender affirmation, social transitioning, puberty blockers, hormones, and body mutilation, as Jack was talking about. And if you want to know the whole picture on that, check out the Cass review. In fact, the Cass review, which came out of Britain last year, just this year actually, was the final review. They even said that social transitioning needs to be disallowed. Social transitioning in itself is a problem for children. So even to let boys dress as girls, well, hello, yeah, if they're 2 years old and they're playing dress up, that's different. But when you get a 13-year-old boy dressing like a girl, that is conditioning. That's indoctrination. So it's time for parents to unite across this land of Canada to arise and stand firm, expose the indoctrination and tyranny within our education system, and most of all, rescue our children. Rise as one to defend the young. And I want to add this because I just received this morning, a brand new study by Dr. Michael Laidlaw. So Google him. He's an endocrinologist in the US. Just sent this study that was just completed, and it verifies everything that David was talking about. Oh, yeah, Jack was talking about. I've got too many names in my mind. So this is what he says regarding adverse psychological effects of high-dose testosterone, which is what they give young girls who are deciding they could be cross-sex, which can never happen, by the way. So high-dose testosterone is given for the purpose of transitioning natal females in gender-affirming therapy. Some of these adverse reactions, and this is his quote, include depressed mood. So if you have children in your family, whether it's a niece, a nephew, grandchild, these are the symptoms you need to look for when they start taking these hormones and puberty blockers. Depressed moods, emotional disorders, a lot of emotional catharsis, emotional distress, anger, aggression, antisocial behavior. And we see that. Unfortunately, we see it in those who are set up to counter protest against us from the LGBT. We see it. Antisocial behavior. But listen to this. Homicidal ideation, not just suicidal, they become homicidal. This is really scary. Do you understand? When we stand up as parents and speak truth, and these children have been on hormones for how many years, and it's changed their brains, it's changed the brain chemistry, there are all kinds of negative effects. And so homicidal ideation is one. Self-destructive behavior, affect liability, that means emotional liability. Dissociation, which is something I dealt with a lot when I treated adult survivors of complex trauma. And disorientation. So this is what Laidlaw also says. In our opinion, the adverse psychological reactions to testosterone as used in natal female transition are related to the harmful doses administered. And they also in this paper discuss the potential relation to suicidal ideation and the suicide found in subsequent studies that Jack Fonseca talked about. This is very real. This is very real. And what you hear in social media and all the good things about transitioning, that's all
I can't mobile. I'm gonna move a
about
little bit
queer
here. Just
theory
different
at work,
angles.
turning everything upside down, saying good is evil, because what they're doing to our children
Step
is
over, yeah.
evil. So let's stand together, let's be together, and let's continue to march together to rescue our children. Rise up as one
How
to
are ya?
defend the young.
Good.
Yeah, I remember you from your mama's house.
30 seconds about homicidal ideation. That's in a new study. I do
Somebody hit the
have
back of my shirt.
the reference for you. I can get it to you if you take my card. But that's just come out today. I just got it today. So I can't speak a lot about it. But when you have suicidal ideation, you have self-destructive tendencies, it's not hard to also cross the line when you get angry toward homicidal ideation. So we are in an uphill battle for our children. We must rescue them.
Thank you, Dr. Ann Gillies. That was, as always, informative, passionate. We come to expect from you. Our next speaker is always a blessing to hear. He's gone through personal hell and back on his fight for freedom of religion in this country. He's been identified with the Freedom Convoy. And this is a quick aside here. I was there for about 95% of the trial, just down the road there. You can almost see the building on Elgin Street of Tamara Leach, Chris Barber. And I still cannot believe any trial for mischief could go on for literally over a year. And we're not going to get a verdict in that trial until January, February, maybe even March 2025. And I'll tell you, I've come to know both Tamara and Chris very well. I've interviewed them, and Tamara's been on my show multiple times. And these people have been put through what we all call lawfare. Back and forth from their homes in Western Canada, back to onward again, all because of stupid charges. And you know, it was interesting to me. On Monday, of course, we had a by-election in Montreal. And you know whose seat that used to be? The former Justice Minister and Attorney General of Canada, David Lametti, who resigned literally a day after a federal court judge ruled the Emergencies Act to be a violation of the Charter of Rights of the Constitution, to be completely unfounded. Lametti was out the door. He, of course, was one of those February criminals, that's what I call them, the February criminals who invoked the Emergencies Act upon innocent, peaceful protesting Canadians. So our next speaker knows all about the Freedom Convoy. He knows all about what we're fighting for today. He knows all about freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, and freedom of speech, which is what we are all standing for today. Pastor Henry Hildebrand is a religious leader. He's a religious leader like few others.
He's right
And
there.
Activist, and as he says, a conspiracy theorist. In 1991, Pastor Henry became the pastor of the Church of God in Elmer, Ontario. He has been an outspoken critic of COVID-19 restrictions and lockdowns, a strong supporter of the Freedom Convoy, and an advocate for protecting parental and children's rights. Pastor Henry Hildebrand, come on up here, please.
Well, hello, Ottawa. It certainly is a place where we have been before. We recognize. I'm starting to understand what the streets' names are and whatnot. So it's not our first time. The nice thing today is that I'm not wearing gloves and I'm not wearing hand warmers and heat warmers. So the weather's actually perfect here. So let me tell you, first of all, that we should never base our results or our success on numbers, because we have plenty of examples in the Bible where we see that by one man what God did. Now, actually, one man and God make the majority. What is important is that we stand with the truth, that we stand with God. That's what matters. I actually won't be very long, but I thought I found the perfect thing to share with you here this afternoon. I found it in a book written by someone by the name of Stephen P. Hargrave. He wrote the book Hustling Backward. And I found that he describes it very, very well. Before I quote what he says in his book, let me just say this. This is what Ali Talib said. He said, people are of two types. They are either your brothers in faith or your equals in humanity. Actually, we are one big human family. What the system that's behind me, what they would like to do and are hard working at it is to divide us. We should actually not allow anyone to divide us, because that is what they're after. And you know what that means? Divide and conquer. We should actually not allow anything to divide us from the people that we just saw across the street. Now, whatever lifestyle anyone is involved in, they unequivocally deserve to be treated with love, respect, and human dignity. I stand before you here this afternoon telling you that I have absolutely no hatred whatsoever, no bitterness against anyone, no matter what they're yelling, no matter what they're screaming. They are lost. They are lost, and they need salvation, true salvation. And that salvation can only be found in Jesus Christ. He died for our sins. They can be saved, and actually their soul desires that. They would often qualify or tell us what we're doing, even this afternoon. They would say that this is hate speech. I would like to share something out of this book, Hustling Backward. What he says about hate speech, I thought it was so well said. He said there may well be nothing in itself inappropriate with the phrase hate speech. The manner in which it is often used, however, may be extremely inappropriate. First of all, hatred that is expressed by word and deed is not always an indication of the absence of love. Secondly, criticism is not always an indication of negativity. And finally, holding a contrary position is not always indication of malice. Let's not allow ourselves to be coerced into labeling something as hate speech solely based on someone holding a contrary position and voicing that opposition. Mind you, it may be hate. It's possible that somebody is filled with hatred by what they're speaking. But we cannot, just because I have a dissenting voice of something or disagreeing with something, doesn't mean I am filled with hatred. Because guess what? I'm not. I am fully clear this afternoon of hatred against anyone. But I am absolutely and strongly standing against what they're doing to our country, how they're mocking God, how they're poking God in the eye, so to speak. I am adamantly against it. But I do not have a hatred for anyone. But I do hate Satan, and I do hate what Satan does, and I do hate the deeds of what these people are doing. A big difference. So, let me see. I lost my place. I got a little passionate here. Okay, but it cannot be justly labeled as such simply because someone holds to and promotes a contrary position. If we just readily assume all dissenting speech is hate speech, then we cannot have a conversation about the viewpoints which we hold, and we cannot have a conversation. If we cannot have a conversation, no understanding can be reached, neither can any mutual peaceful conclusion be drawn. So you saw exactly that. They are yelling at us. They're yelling, you hate this, and they're yelling, they're talking about human rights, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But there is no constructive conversation going on, letting them know, look, we don't hate you. We just don't want you to destroy our children. We don't want you to tear the very fabric that holds our society together, right? We need to have a constructive conversation. But unfortunately, it starts way higher than with them. Right behind me here, we have, that is where it's actually going on. Okay, there's unrighteousness, there's unholiness going on and endorsed and propagated. That is the problem, that we at the very highest seat, that we don't have someone that stands up for our children. Actually, they do not stand up for our children. That is the problem. Now, let me tell you again, don't worry about how many people are here in numbers. We are like David and Goliath. And let me ask you, do you remember who won the day? Was it David or was it Goliath?
David.
We know who won. And you know what? We know who wins. We've already read the last page of the book. We already know who wins. God is on his throne. God is in control.
If I get a chance, I will. Yes, fine.
All right. We would then continue to be guilty of perpetuating division and causing unwarranted tension or possibly even open hostility. In this condition, we would be unable to direct our mutual energies against the system that put us at odds with each other. Okay? Neither could we address the constructed language and thought patterns that are continually ensuring division. Why is this? Because we will be too busy with our own agenda to realize that we have been deceived into fulfilling our prearranged role in a system designed to divide and conquer us. The system behind me, they want exactly that. They want us to be divided. Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter to me what color you are, what background you are. It doesn't matter to me where you come from. We are this afternoon fighting a common foe. We have a tragedy on our front steps. Our children are being attacked. Our children are attacked in a gruesome way. And we are one in heart in that we are standing against that. Is that correct? All right. So I'm almost finished here. So whatever lifestyle anyone is involved in, says Stephen P. Hargrave writes in his book, Hustling Backward, they unequivocally deserve to be treated with love, respect, and human dignity. All right. So the system that we're fighting, called the LGBTQ, I don't know what how many letters of the alphabet it includes, but just a lot of that. So that movement is not just demanding that members of their community be treated as human beings. That's not what they're demanding. Neither is this their primary objective of the movement. It isn't. It is a structured operation which, at its core, demands that we say nothing, do nothing, and believe nothing that is contrary to their way of life. Mind you, I am speaking of the philosophy and agenda of the movement. I am not speaking of every individual who is a part of this community, because it's actually possible that in that group that you saw earlier, it's possible that there's souls and they're crying after God, and we want them to be saved. We want them to be rescued out of that. Like I said, it is not an organization for the advancements of human rights. It is a movement for the right to practice certain behaviors and have those behaviors legitimized through legislation, while at the same time demanding that everyone falls in line and says that it's okay. Well, I got news for you. We are not falling in line, and we will never say that that's okay, because it isn't. Civil governments have often withheld rights from their citizens which nature and humanity demand. Civil governments have often extended rights to their citizens which nature and humanity do not. Civil governments grant rights which transgress humanity while removing human rights in the name of civility. God bless you. Thank you for your time.
Wow, I always loved Pastor Hildebrand. That was just inspiring, and that's what we're here for today, is to inspire each other to continue the fight. Paul talked about it being a race, but a race that we have to finish. Sometimes that race is difficult. Sometimes that race is arduous, but with his help, we continue. We persevere. We're persistent. And that's what the left hates most about us, is that we are persistent, because we do believe. I wanted to make one comment before I introduce our next speaker, who's actually more of a comedian, because we want you guys to be feeling good before the march, and that's coming after our next speaker. Before I say that, though, I wanted to highlight some news we all heard yesterday, but a federal court deciding that my friends at Rebel News are not real journalists, because they're not reporting the news the way Justin Trudeau wants it reported. That
Fake news.
and Ezra's been a friend of mine for over 20 years. I knew Ezra. We both worked right behind us here. We both worked in the Hill, and I worked at the first Western Standard with Ezra, and he's been a close friend. We worked at Sun News together. So there's no competition between the new media. We all are fighting for the same thing. And to say that somebody like Dave Menzies, who goes out and covers stories the mainstream media won't cover, is not a journalist because he's not doing stuff Justin Trudeau likes, is to me a complete capitulation of justice in this country.
Speaking
These
of
are
Rebel,
journalists. These are not news personalities like CBC wants to
Alexa.
call them. CBC, what a joke. What a joke. This is an organization that gets $1.2 billion
I don't know who you're with, but
dollars.
oh, are you?
Has
Okay.
paid advertising.
Okay.
And yet,
Okay, that's good to know.
It's always
So I'm actually,
going in the
Ash,
red.
just so you know, I'm actually
But
standing by one of Pastor
somehow
Hildebrand's
can afford
people, his
to
cameraman,
pay bonuses
filming everything.
to the fat cat
One of my guys was
executives
actually asking,
at the
wants to get
top of
in
the
touch with
organization,
Pastor Hildebrand at some point in
including
time. So,
the CEO.
yeah.
And they're
Churchofgod.com, if you get on there, you should be able to.
Yeah,
always
churchofgod.com,
telling you
Ash. There you
how
go.
much money they need.
You want to give it a shout? You want to give Pastor a shout
So
out?
I
Yeah,
can't
absolutely.
wait
He's like
until the day.
the
And I
greatest
actually
pastor
wrote
ever,
for
and
CBC for a
it's
couple
good to
years.
see that God is using him to help
I was with
gather people
the
together
token
and
conservative columnist.
heal
Yeah.
the
I can't
divide
wait
that
for
there
the
is.
day
Yeah.
when they
And what was
actually
the, where can anybody reach out to you guys if they want to reach out to you at?
Churchofgod.com. Also,
that
Pastor
to
Henry
me,
Hildebrand
and
on
this is
Facebook.
something I wrote
All
a
the
policy
podcasts,
paper on
Pastor
this
Henry Hildebrand. You should be able to
about
find him on there.
15 years
There you
ago.
go, Ash.
It's called Time to Leave Home.
You can reach out
The
to him, and
arguments about
and I'll pass it along to him that you're going to be reaching out to him, Ash. Okay.
I've been fighting for this issue for years, and to me, this is a litmus
Warm
test
out here today.
for the next government. They've got to follow through on this, folks. They got to follow through on the pledge and the promise to privatize, to defund the CBC, because this is crucial to what freedom is about in Canada. We can no longer be subsidizing our news media. We can no longer be paying journalists to tell us what the government wants them to say.
You're here.
So tragedy yesterday. I can't say more about how tragic it is. Our next speaker is going to leave you feeling really good. His name is Greg Wycliffe, And like myself, he has a fantastic YouTube station that I invite you all to watch. And actually, I think ironically, we just invited Greg to come on my show next week because he is somebody who loves to talk about Bill C-63 as I do. This is the worst, most odious piece of legislation against free speech in the world today. In the world. It is going to make Canada look like a worse formation than the UK is right now, where you've got this jackass of a prime minister, Herr Keir Starmer, I won't call that man sir, not for anything, at war with his own country, putting people in jail for what they say on the internet. And that's what's going to happen in Canada. So our next speaker is going to talk about his dedication. He's a comedian, he's a reporter, a political commentator, and his comedy skits poke fun at the hypocritical government. It has garnered millions of views across this country. I encourage you to be one of them. Right now, Greg is fighting the growing censorship in Canada, like Bill C-63, as we all know, as the Online Harms Act. And if there's one bill you need to fight that one, because it's the linchpin of our freedom. If we lose our freedom of speech, we ain't got any freedom. We lose our democracy. You know, I always say this on my broadcast. Everybody knows the classic 1942 film Casablanca. And the resistance fighter in that movie is a character named Victor Laszlo, played by Paul Heinrich. And he's asked by Rick Blaine, played by Humphrey Bogart, why do you keep fighting? What are you fighting for? And he says, you might as well ask why we keep breathing. If we stop breathing, we will die. If we stop fighting, the world will die. And that's why I keep fighting, and that's why Greg Wycliffe keeps fighting. So comedy and education. Greg is fighting against the far left ideologues in media and politics who try to silence and censor parents who are simply trying to protect their children. So Greg, come on up. We love you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's give it up for your MC, ladies and gentlemen. How are we feeling? How are we doing? Good to see everybody. This is great. You know, a lot of people can feel very demoralized these days that not enough people came out today. But, you know, sometimes maybe we have to take a page out of the book of our political enemies. I personally identify as 10,000 people. So I think this entire group right here identifies as 1 million people. Okay?
Hear, hear.
And you can't say otherwise or else you're a bigot. That's how it works. I didn't make the rules. Okay? But first of all, just give yourselves a round of applause for being out here today. Okay? Give yourselves a round of applause because everyone out here on the lawn cares more about children in Canada than the people in that building back there. So good for you. At least somebody cares. And you know, I'm a comedian. I try to make jokes, but to be honest, it's really hard to make jokes about something that is already patently absurd. Okay? Again, using their same rules, I could say that right now. Right now, I'm a woman now. Yeah, just right. Oh my God, it just happened. Oh my God, just a thought popped in my head. Now I'm a woman. You have to call me a woman. If you don't call me ma'am, then I'm gonna get the Human Rights Tribunal against you. It's not funny, ma'am. You'll have to go in there and you know. Greg had a goatee. That's my dead name. Don't call me Greg. He had a goatee. It seemed masculine. I'm not masculine. I'm femme-identifying, and on and on. It's crazy. It's crazy. How am I supposed to write a joke about this? Just explain it, right?
Don't tell Danielle Smith that.
That's right, Danielle Smith. Don't tell Danielle Smith that. Did you see the struggle session the other day? I mean, hey, some of these establishment conservatives I don't know about. They say that they're the people who are going to save us from this insanity where they can't even say man and woman. Yet they're getting their own politician on their team to get them go through this struggle session with a transgender person. Say trans women are women. Say it. Say it. Very, very, very masculine voice, by the way, on this female in this Zoom call. Unbelievable, unbelievable. But yeah, these are supposed to be our conservative all-stars who are going to save us. And I would really like to see a lot more out of Pierre Poilievre. What do you guys think? Where is this guy? Just go on TV and say there's two sexes, men and women, period. He doesn't say that nearly often enough. And then people say, but the media is going to call him a bigot. That's a good thing. Okay, he can't even stand up to the media to say man and woman. If you don't have the courage to say man and woman to the CBC, and you're telling us that you're going to turn this country around, I don't think so. What do you guys think? Where's your courage, Poilievre? Where's your courage? Yeah, then again, maybe he doesn't identify as a man anymore. Maybe his balls are gone. But it's crazy because, call me old-fashioned, back in my day, I used to watch this show called The Price is Right with Bob Barker, right? And at the end of his show, he would say, get your pets spayed or neutered. And now these days, school teachers are saying, get your kids spayed or neutered. Unbelievable.
Come on down.
Unbelievable. Where's Bob Barker when you need him? But yeah, guys, it takes a lot of courage to stand up here today for all you to come out, and it really shouldn't. It's literally at the point where 2 + 2 = 5. If you disagree with that, you're going to get attacked. You know, and I started this website, savefreespeech.ca, because they're trying to pass this egregious bill, Bill C-63. I have business cards with me. If you want to learn more, you can go to the website. But we recently published a video called Canada's War on Parents. It's not just school teachers. It's politicians. It's the media. It's CSIS, which is our CIA, our Canadian intelligence services. They're so intelligent that anybody who thinks there's just a man and a woman is considered a violent extremist. Again, how do I make a joke about this when it's already so patently absurd? It's difficult. But I strongly suggest you guys see how deep the rabbit hole goes at savefreespeech.ca. You can check it out at the War on Parents, because there's a network of people who systematically try to make us look like these horrible, hateful people. It's not true. We just believe in basic truths, basic biology. And when it comes to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, for those who don't know, what are the first lines of our charter? Says the supremacy of God. Okay? And we forget that, or we don't honor that at all. And it's being replaced. It's being replaced with some weird rainbow progressive belief system where there's a whole bunch of different types of genders, and we need to tell kids about that, or else we're bad people. Again, it's so difficult to keep track of the rules. The rules change every single day, and it's completely and patently absurd. But again, hey guys, give yourselves a round of applause for coming out today, okay? What's gender wars? Oh yeah? Okay, cool. We're actually coming out with a documentary at savefreespeech.ca, and it's going to tell the story of different Canadians who are being attacked for their political opinions. Parents, savefreespeech.ca. We're not releasing the name of the documentary yet, but you can you can donate to the documentary on our website at our Gibson Go fundraiser. But the point is there's different groups of Canadians who are under attack right now for simply just their political opinions. After the trucker convoy, for example, people went to jail for what they were saying. And the same thing, people who are standing up for parental rights and for children are being slandered, smeared, and they will do anything to just throw the book at you and try to get you charged simply for your political opinion. This is supposed to be a free country, guys, and it's not.
Back in USSR.
Back in the USSR, yeah, exactly. You know, ever since 2018, we have had government subsidized media. What does that mean? That means that the CBC is paid for by the government, CTV, government, Global News, government, City TV, government. They all get government funds. This is a characteristic of a authoritarian country. This is the same thing in China, North Korea, Russia. Can we get just a quick boo for that? Boo to Canada and this horribly biased news media. It's unbelievable. And how do you think they cover this issue, this topic? Are they doing any investigative research into the long-term studies of puberty blockers? Let me hear you. No, nothing. Nothing at all. Are they looking into the trend of these poor children who are now detransitioning? No, they're not. Are they looking into, I don't know, are they giving us the fair chance? No, they're not. It is evil what they're doing. It's evil what they're doing. It's horrible. And it's because of people like you that we have a fighting chance to stop this. And it's our duty to continue speaking up and continue speaking out. And we got to keep a lightness of spirit about it. Like I said, you know, it can really feel overwhelming at times. It can really feel like there's no options and that there's nothing we can do. But Hilda brought up David versus Goliath, and I think that's a very apt comparison because God is in control, and we need to have that blind faith that we will win because the truth is on our side. The truth is on our side, and you know if these people can show up and say that trans women are women, surely we can have the bravery to just stand up and say, no, they're not. Do you know how little effort that is, but yet how such a radical statement it is now for some reason in Canada in 2024? This is what makes you a domestic terrorist in Canada in 2024. Trans women are women? No, they're not. That's it. That's all you have to do to be put on a government watch list. Is just say, no, they're not. Trans women are not women. And you know what happened to Danielle Smith's colleague, putting her through this re-education training? That's coming for every single one of us. And even the people who aren't here and think, oh, it's not going to affect me. It's not going to affect me. Who knows? Soon, later, 2 years from now, you'll have some transgender knocking on your door. Say trans women are women. I'm a trans police officer. If you don't say that, then you're going to jail. And I know, and it sounds absurd, but that's where things are headed unless more people like us don't stand up. So it's amazing to see all you out here. Make sure you're networking, okay? Make sure you're networking here. Connect with people. Say hello. Break the ice. Get to know one another. Maybe you live nearby. There is two ways to look at this. There's changing it from the top down and from the bottom up. And both of them work, okay? You can make a small effort. The media is so good at convincing people that you have no power. And that's just patently not true. You know why I know that's not true? Because the second that one person speaks up and says, no, they're not, trans women aren't women, they get attacked by the media. There's people on top of them constantly saying, don't say that, don't do that. If you're so powerless and you you have no power, then why is the media crashing down on you the second that one person stands up and says something? The truth is, they're terrified. They're terrified more people are going to stand up and say, hands off our kids. Leave our kids alone. You are a lying, evil scumbag. And if you haven't noticed, the people who say that most aggressively are the ones that get put on CSIS watch lists. But give yourselves another round of applause for your courage. You guys are on the right side of history, okay? And that's a lot to feel good about. And yeah, just once again, I made the joke of a transgender cop showing up to, to put you through a struggle session. But they're presenting legislation with Bill C-63 that is that absurd. Okay, to give you a little taste, they want to make detestation, to detest something, criminal hate speech. The definition of detestation is intense dislike. So if you intensely dislike something, sometimes I intensely dislike the Toronto Maple Leafs, but for example, I don't want to split the crowd here, but as an example, technically, that could get you charged with criminal hate speech. This language is so broad, and it would be so easy to use this legislation, to use it against all of us for offending trans people, bullying trans kids. There's so much terrible stuff in this legislation, and if it passed, it would be the end of free speech in Canada. So if you want to learn more, you can go to sayfreespeech.ca. But the point is this battle is far from over. But it's actually really easy to fight back. Because all you have to do is not give in to the fear. Calmly step forward, take a breath, and say, trans women are women? No, they're not. Oh, you think I'm a transphobe? You think I'm a homophobe? I think you're enabling pedophiles. Okay, that's what I think you're doing. I think that's way worse. And by all intensive accounts, it is way worse. We are the ones protecting children, not them. Are you kidding me? There is one more joke that I wrote, but it's a little off color. So brace yourselves. But when I was at this protest last year, I had a chance to confront the Rainbow Mob people. And I had one question for them. What's a trans kid? What's a trans kid? Is a trans kid like that? They were born a trans kid, or when the kid decided that they were the opposite gender, then were they born first a trans, or they became a trans? The second you start to talk about it, it makes no sense. But I do have an answer for who is a trans kid, or what is a trans kid. I don't know if I can say it; it's so inappropriate. But a trans kid is unfortunately a kid that makes a pedophile rock hard. Okay, I know that's horrible, but let's think about this. I mean, if there's anybody who is going to expose a child to grooming, it's a trans kid. It's the perfect equation for a pedophile to groom a child. Well, we identified the trans kids in school. Great, they probably have mental issues. They probably don't have support at home. We're going to fill their heads with all sorts of words that they can Google online so we can find them.
Yeah,
they are priming children to be victims of sexual predators. So I just want to emphasize that. Do not be afraid of being called a bigot or a transphobe or a homophobe. Because do you think the pedophiles are on this side of the fence? No, they're over there and they're having a great time, and they're the most hateful and deceitful ones. And if you want to do research, and I know it's uncomfortable to talk about pedophiles, but guess what, guys? They're not unicorns. They're real. They're out there. Okay? And they seek power positions. If you do the research, if you look at the type of people that become pedophiles, it's I know it's an uncomfortable subject, but let's be real here. Okay? They seek out power positions, and they are very deceitful, very sociopathic, and without a doubt, they are hiding behind that rainbow flag. And I know that, the other side will say, oh, he's being hateful, he's trying to call all gays pedophiles. That's not true. The point is, listen to your heart and know that you are the one protecting children. You are the one who is in the right. Don't be intimidated by these stupid slurs and labels of transphobe, homophobe. No. Okay? I am against the worst of the worst kind of evil, which is pedophilia. Can I get a round of applause, please? Okay? Come on. So that was supposed to be my my comedy. Yeah, like I said, it's hard to make jokes about this when it's so patently absurd and there's so much evil going on. It's really not funny. But like I said, I identify as a woman. They have to respect that. So if they do attack me, it's their problem, and I'm gonna get the Human Rights Court involved. But guys, thank you so much for having me. If you want to learn more about sayfreespeech.ca, Bill C-63, or the war on parents, come say hello. I got some business cards information for you. I'm also live streaming as well. So if you want to hop on my live stream, say while you're down here, then come seek me out. I would love to chat with you. And again, give yourselves a round of applause for being on the right side of history and protecting Canadian kids. I'll give it to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Greg. That was great. So nice. It's nice to have this important message delivered sometime in a lighter way, because we do tend, I think, to get navel gazing, and we need to look upwards because our salvation does draw nigh. And these are hard times for a lot of Canadians, not just economic, but we wonder sometimes where this country's going. And we're going to be going on a march very, very shortly. And they wanted us to go down O'Connor's Street, but Camille said, no, we're going to go past the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. How many veterans do we have here today? I was in Bosnia. I spent 12 years in the Royal Canadian Air Force, Royal again. And some of the proudest years of my life. I'm not sure I could wear that uniform today with the way wokeism has contaminated and infected our military to the degree now that we have tampons and we've got the current chief of defense staff is an equity hire who is there because she's supported all of the social transformation that's gone on in the Canadian Armed Forces.
I need to sit down for a minute.
So we're going to be
Can I
walking
sit in that
past
stool for a minute?
the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in the Senate House.
Assume it's yours, Patty.
Because we as Canadians are proud Canadians, and we're proud of our veterans. We're proud of those who serve Canada
Thank you, darling.
overseas and at home for wearing the uniform and for defending freedom. And I tell you,
Thank you, Patty.
I used to sit every
Thank you,
Remembrance Day
Patty.
when I was
Say
in
hello to my
uniform, I'd
live.
sit down with the veterans, the local veterans.
Patty
I grew up
is
in
a
Comox,
grandma
I
up here
served in
fighting for
Comox
freedom
most of
for
my
the
Air
children.
Force career.
Great
British
friend of
Columbia.
mine. I always
And
have her
sit with
back.
the
She always
veterans
has
and I would
mine.
talk about their
Great grand.
heroism,
Oh,
which
sorry,
they
great
always said
grandma.
was nothing. That's
But
just-
she
we were
doesn't.
just
She doesn't
doing
look
our
it.
jobs.
I'm
But the
actually
things they did were sometimes
Patty
super good.
Chatty.
Some of the things
Patty
they did
Chatty,
were
yeah.
heroic
Talk a lot.
because they
Yeah, she
believed
does
in
talk a
Canada
lot. She's always
to
on the
fight
hill
for, to come
yelling
back
and
for,
protesting.
to raise their families. And most of
And
these
I'm
were,
on her stool.
these
And I'm
were
on her.
young men who still had lives ahead of them, those who survived, still had lives ahead of them, marriages ahead of them, children to raise ahead of them. And they came back because they believed, and they fought because they believed in this country called Canada, because they believed it was one of the greatest countries on earth. It was one of the freest countries on earth.
All right. Well,
And I often think about those men.
I think
today. So
everybody's
many
gonna be
of them are gone
packing
now.
up around me here. I'm storing my
But
stuff
what would
with
they
everybody
think
here. So
about what has happened.
we're going
to
to
and why
find something here.
we have this clown named Justin Trudeau leading us to the abyss. I'll tell you what, we're going back. We are going back from the abyss because we are stronger in numbers, because we know as Greg said, we have history on our side. And as Pastor Hildebrand said, we have God on our side. So thank you all for being here. We're going to be marching soon. Don't go away after the march. We're coming back for a couple of more speakers. We have Jim Ferguson. A lot of you know from his appearances on my show, I hope, but he's also been on Redacted quite a bit. And of course, Camille El Sheikh, the organizer and the founder of Hands Off Our Kids, the guy who has done so much to make this happen again this year. He will be speaking when we come back. So we're going to get organized for the march. Stay tuned. Thank you for being here so far. Bye-bye.
All right. So just throw up a little.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. ACL. Bridges to freedom. Let's go. It's time to unite now. Time to unite now. Quebec and Ontario, it's time to unite now. New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, it's time to unite now. Newfoundland, Labrador, it's time to unite now. The bridges to freedom need to rebuild us right now. Prince Edward Island, yes, it's time to unite now. Manitoba, Saskatchewan, let's unite now. Alberta, BC, it's time for us to unite now. The bridges to freedom need to rebuild us right now. We gotta slow roll up the hill, no standstill, and build a bridge to freedom. Just sees the tyranny. The winter convoy that we had is part of history. We need to re-strategize, reanalyze, reunify, and be wise if we wanna rise up. Gotta do it right with the right people. Roll up for our rights, cause it's right to fight evil. The winter convoy was just an icebreaker. They get my love and respect, exposing all these traitors. But now it's up to us to keep the torch lit. Gotta gather up the numbers in order to enforce it. Raking out the real from the fakes is an action. Human interaction, convoy for attraction. Have a chance to meet up face to face and feel their energy. We need the West Coast to tag along to fight our enemy. Quebec and Ontario, it's time to unite now. New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, it's time to unite now. Newfoundland, Labrador, it's time to unite now. The bridges to freedom need to rebuild right now. Prince Edward Island, yes, it's time to unite now. Manitoba, Saskatchewan, let's unite now. Alberta, BC, it's time for us to unite now. The bridges to freedom need to rebuild right now. Forget the flyers you're promoting up on Instagram. You're making it too easy for the cops to come and spoil our plans. Forget the lives and the messenger groups. Don't base your trust on freedom fighter pictures as proof. Some of them are infiltrators just to know where to bomb next. The same ones who think anonymous is a long stretch. I'm all set, willing to go meet with the West Coast. Show them in the flesh my respect while yelling, let's go. Yes, bro, ain't no better way to earn their trust. They're just waiting for the same initiation they showed us. All our sources, all our forces on the road for 2.0. But this time we'll be together with a game plan to unfold. Ain't no running away when one of us gets harassed. We'll get the snakes out the grass and make the government crash. Freedom hasn't been ours, and it's been like that forever. It's been proven before that we could win this together. Quebec and Ontario, it's time to unite now. New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, it's time to unite now. Newfoundland, Labrador, it's time to unite now. The bridges to freedom need to rebuild right now. Prince Edward Island, yes, it's time to unite now. Manitoba, Saskatchewan, let's unite now. Alberta, BC, it's time for us to unite now. The bridges to freedom need to rebuild right now. We've got supporters that support the freedom movement. Then we've got supporters who support the party movement. The ones who haven't done shit, the ones who only run lip, the ones who have some fun with, the ones who lost their funds quick. It's time to separate the real and fake. Who's been awake, who's still on Wellington without a penny for a meal to scrape. There's no break, our country's freedom is at stake. My Desi's ready in the racks for world peace to take its place. Victory is my priority, our freedom and authority. Accomplish that and after you could drink like a sorority. Until then, get out your house and go and conversate. Answer every question that they ask and understand their hate. Keep it a debate, keep it civil while you educate. Only then they'll realize we're the same and that we both aren't safe. We need to stick together, go west to grow the numbers. Bridges to freedom will be louder than a rolling thunder. Quebec and Ontario, it's time to unite now. New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, it's time to unite now. Newfoundland, Labrador, it's time to unite now. The bridges to freedom need to rebuild right now. Prince Edward Island, yes, it's time to unite now. Manitoba, Saskatchewan, let's unite now. Alberta, BC, it's time for us to unite now. The bridges to freedom need to rebuild right now. Canada, let's fight for freedom. The bridges to freedom need to be rebuilt right now.
There it is. Hello, hello. Welcome back. I'm just down here getting ready for the march, of course. Right now, I came down here earlier. Actually, I teleported down. That's why I put the song up so you guys couldn't see me teleport. I'm a man of mystery. I've been accused of being a time traveler, everything, you know. And of course, we did have a large group earlier of the anti-people or the LGBTQ alphabet group. They were here earlier, but of course they've kind of dispersed. There's still a few kicking around, trying to cause problems, but you know that's what they do. This is their core little group that always is around us over here, but it plays on.
What I was doing when everybody else was doing. And I broke down in tears, and I was just heartbroken.
So yeah. Everybody's starting to come down here now for the march, so I'm just down here already ahead of time. So good. How are you, man? Good to see you as well. Oh, I'm on your flags. I'm sorry, Nick. Okay, I'm back. So, like I said, everybody's filing out to go to the march. Well, good speech, Pastor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Praise
Friend of mine's
God.
going to
Praise
reach
God.
out
What
to
an
you on.
amazing speech.
I saw you last time too.
Thank you.
So grateful for you guys coming.
Thank you.
Actually, my birthday. Oh, okay.
Oh, ow. Well, I just banged my mask, but not used to having it on my back. Probably put it around the front when I gear up here more.
On the street.
Great emceeing as usual, sir. Yeah. I can't remember your name. I'm sorry. I'm bad with names. David. Yes, David. Check him out. I'll send it. I'll post his link up later on at some point. Share it out so that people can get it. These are the Wellington Street regulars, the boys that are always here. CG. My brother. How are you? Brother in arms. Brother in arms. Met him during the convoy. He's still here. One of the many. He's not. No, he is not. No, he's not a Chad. If anybody wants to know, but he definitely falls in the group who could be a Chad. He stands up for his rights. Jeremiah, how are you, brother? Mr. Longjoy, how are you?
Unity, light, love together. All worldwide.
Just me.
What?
Sign the flag.
What? Yeah, I'll sign your flag. Yep. Tell you what, Jeremiah, you want to take over my live for me for a minute? Not many people chatting, just keep recording. You can record me signing the flag if you want. I'll come over here. Here.
Go on that bench right
Yeah,
there.
I'll go on the bench.
Got anything to say to the people of Canada?
I love you all.
Yeah, thank
God
you.
bless every one of you.
What do you want? Is the students at only 6 learning about consent? That's insane. And then 12 years old are giving an introduction to same-sex
I don't cut. It's all right. I'm going to pop my butt for a minute. I'll take my thing back. Thank you, Jeremiah. Jeremiah, he's great freedom, great guy. He stands for freedom. You're originally from Africa, right? Yeah.
In an elite.
But Africa, I'm from Canada.
Well, you're Canadian now, yes.
I'm native to the planet.
Exactly. You're native to the planet. You go where you're needed, but you're here in Canada, where you call home, right?
Exactly. We are home.
All right. So they're still prepping for the march. I'm gonna do some more prepping myself here. So I am gonna stay community live just because I still got the battery power to go. But if you need to go grab a coffee, go do so.
Next question.
I need to be able to see her sun's in my eyes.
I could really use a double-double.
There it is.
What do you say, boys? Tim's run? Let's go. What a year. Boy, it sucked. We could use a pick-me-up. Let's go. Friggin' rice, let's go. Ooh, heck yeah, bud. And I think I know just the spot where the coffee's always fresh and hot. And the donuts? Oh, don't get me started on those donuts. Life's alright in a red and a white up north, if you know what I mean. If I need a brew or just something to do, well, bud, you know where I'll be. Let's go. I'm headed on a Tim's.
All right, sorry about that. I was trying to gear up my camera to go, and they started the march. I didn't know they were going to start. I'm a little bit in the back, but that's all right. I'll catch up. But that's what we do sometimes, right, Steve? We hang at the back, make sure everything stays. I always love a sign, though, too, people. We love you, but your government doesn't. Stop the war machine. All right, I'm going to return to the comments section here. There we go. If you're saying anything, I can say something. Of course, we have a police escort. Good day, Sergeant. How are you? And we got police walking and on bikes. So they are kind of giving us a bit of an escort, which is nice. Excuse me, officer.
Okay. Oh, I want to take a picture. Yeah, this sponsor, she plays a fun thing.
All right, so I got two cameras going, just so everybody knows. That's on double fisting. I'll be posting some of the other footage up later. The raw footage of anything I get with my other camera, of course. But I always try to keep two cameras going. Excuse me. That's the good thing about us when we're all marching together and trying to keep things filming as well. So.
Get right by God now. Leave the children alone.
No Soji 1, 2, 3.
Yes. No Soji.
No Soji 1, 2, 3.
No Soji. Children commit
No Soji
suicide.
1, 2, 3. That's what they call it.
Yeah. Yeah. Stop touching the children. You're not pedophiles. God's kids are not for sale. God's children are not for sale.
Sorry, I dropped the other camera, but I'll have to still put it up raw. It's just hard. Any other chance to get the other tripod, so I'm hand mounting. How are you today, sir?
Hands up,
And I've cut up to pretty much to the front, so I'll probably do a stop at some point and let them pass me. But the police are up ahead here, which is really good. Lots of love, lots of sharing. People who didn't have children up here are here standing for the children today. I'm gonna slide by you, Chris.
What's that? Yep.
I'm gonna slide by you, brother.
Yeah, I got it.
Well, like I said, getting closer to the beginning of things. How?
You talked to her?
I haven't seen her all day, but
No. She's mental. She's mental.
she's.
I'm sorry to say it.
I am live, by the way, so. So you know.
Say I'm on top.
I don't have that many people watching, but still I'm live, so just give you a heads up. But no, I know she can be that way.
Anyway,
She's a handful.
I didn't think she had any water today. I think she's dehydrated.
That probably could be the case. That would be my first assumption.
I see a sweaty guy.
Oh. And the ironic part is, of course, I'm coming up on one of my fellow media people. Hey, Daisy, how are you? And the ironic part is, they get a small little contingent of anti-protesters marching in front of us. So their message is getting out first, but who has the message everybody else is hearing?
Leave the kids alone!
Leave the kids alone!
Leave our kids alone!
Leave our kids alone! Parents' rights are human rights!
Hey gang, don't go too fast. We'll have it. Wait for everybody if possible. Leave our kids alone.
Feel like playing Frogger.
safety of our children supersede anybody.
And this lady here, of course, she's out here supporting all kids, but she lost her 2 boys. Rest in peace to both of them. I've had lots of talks with her. She's a lovely woman. Just saying to my live about what your sign represented. You want to say a little bit quick here?
I think you and I have done a couple of interviews, but these are my boys who died in 2021.
Go ahead.
I lost both of my children because of Justin Trudeau's lockdowns.
Yeah.
My kids were deprived of necessities of life.
Yep.
That's why they
Yep.
died.
I'll let you continue marching, okay? We'll talk. We can definitely talk more later, okay? I just wanted to let people know in my live what you were out for, but you're still out here showing all your support and love for all the other children, which is amazing.
On top of that, I lost my sister on the 25th of January from one vaccine.
Yeah.
Country's in bad shape.
It is.
But these guys making $86,000 a year, they're smiling.
And I'm trying to keep walking back through. That's the thing, with our camera people and independent media here, most of these organizers, we get to know them really, really well, especially if it's the last year. Like Camille, I know Camille from last year, and he's just amazing man. No. And I mean, we have people from all walks of life, all different backgrounds here, which is amazing to see. Amazing to see. We were a little bigger last year, but it's all right. Everything has its ups and downs. But there's marches all across Canada, though. That's the thing. So that's a benefit this year.
And if a parent is traumatized, they can get that support from Hands Off Our Kids. So we got big plans. Now those plans, you have to build the fortress before people can go on. You have to put the furniture in there. And you have to make it easy for people, right? Absolutely. And it has to be very easy. So like last night, we have a petition. Please, guys, handsofourkids.ca, sign the petition, because once we get to 1 million people, I'm going to go and take that petition to the House of Commons, to all the leaders, and we also...
Sorry, why don't you use the microphone?
Patty will let you use her megaphone. Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
You know it. Patty.
Are you going to do a speech up here or what?
My speech is going to be over there. I just like to motivate the crowd.
Let's use the megaphone.
Let's go, Camille. Come on, get on that megaphone. Motivate the people. Come on.
Handsofourkids.ca. Okay.
So that's handsofourkids.ca. He has a petition on there. Anybody out there watching now or later, definitely don't forget to put that up or sign that petition.
These are journalists. These are artists. So a year and a half for free. Can you imagine that? It's not just me working for free, my friend.
Well, hey, we're praying for you. Best of luck and break your leg when you crack open that.
All right. There's another one of my fellow colleagues, Marty.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for showing up. And guys, we are building momentum. People are leaving work after lunch because it's Friday. Remember that. Last year, ladies and gentlemen, it was
Lisgard, I believe.
Metcalf and Laurier. Metcalf and
Laurier.
Laurier.
Okay.
Hands off our kids.
You'll never be defeated.
United.
The people united will never be
Good speech, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. My hands are full.
Well, that's okay. I got one hand full, so elbow bump you. That's what we do in the camera world. We get on the hand for the elbow bump. We invented it. Come on.
One nation, one flag. One nation, one flag. One nation, one flag.
Good, you?
War mask ready to go.
I always I got my war mask in case I need it. Yeah.
I'll keep yelling the whole way, but I'll run out of voice. I know.
Parents' rights are human rights. Parents' rights are human rights.
She's an ally.
Parents'
She's an ally.
rights are
She's
human
undercover.
rights.
Okay.
They're here to help people.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And you're doing a great job today. Thank you.
As you walk, eh? Hey guys, we're live on YouTube. Do you want to share some comments? What's your channel? Greg Whitewood. You can join too. Okay. Just to add my body to the numbers, pretty much. I think there's only two genders. That's it. That's all. Yeah, I don't agree with. I think the saddest part is they're encouraging people to transition with no conversation. Oh, that's it.
Parents' rights are human rights. Parents' rights are human rights. Parents' rights are human rights.
The people united will never be defeated.
Well, we got a spot here that we can just kind of mill up.
How about we pay a little thank you to this group right here that organized all of this? How about giving them a big round of applause and say thank you very much for what you're doing, my friend? Every year. I want to thank all the people that you do not see. I want to thank the fathers that have been working around the clock, ladies and gentlemen.
Those are comments.
You will never be these people because they're not looking for no life. Thank you to all the parents here today. It's a great honor and a great respect for all of you to be here, and I'm really glad and proud to sign on. God bless you. Hands off our kids! Hands off
our kids! Hands off our kids! Hands off our kids! Hands off our kids! Hands off our kids!
And don't worry about me being whacked by a flag. I've been whacked by many.
The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Million People March is not a one-hit sensation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an actual annual event now. We have an amazing team.
Amen. Amen on that.
Thank you.
Round of applause for that team, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. Great hand of applause to each and single one.
Ladies and gentlemen, some new announcements for you. Make sure you go to handsofourkids.ca. There's a petition. I want that petition. Once it gets to 1 million, I promise you, I will deliver it to the House of Commons myself on your behalf.
That's right. I'll be beside you on that one. Let me tell you. People united. What is it? People united.
Will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated.
And only the truth will set you free. Tell the story, Jesus is coming.
But how fun this is. You're not taking our funds.
You're not taking our kids.
You're not taking our funds.
Not taking our best.
Children's rights are human rights.
Children's rights are human rights.
God's kids are not for sale. Touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm.
Children's rights are human rights.
Children's rights are human rights.
Well, that's your opinion, and your opinion, you have the free speech to say what you want, you know. I been called many names, but no, I stand for I'm here outstanding for the children, making sure it gets out there so people see it, people are aware.
Children's rights are human rights.
So learn your facts before you speak, please, and thank you. I'm live today, Carl.
Trust Jesus while there's still time. Today's the day of repentance. Ask Jesus to open your heart to forgive you.
That's right. We're not in a hurry. We got all the time in the world for these kids.
Still till we get rid of the pedophiles. The counter protesters. We can't move.
We get
disobedience.
yeah.
See? We're doing our best. Okay. I'm gonna go.
Hands off our kids! Hands off our kids!
Hands off our kids!
Hands off our kids!
Hands off our kids!
And of course, what we were talking about with the police is we got a bunch of lonely little anti-protesters that are up here.
Will never be defeated.
And of course, we got a few
Will never
of
be
us here.
defeated!
I'm here covering your back, brother.
Will never be defeated.
Just so you're covered.
United will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The reason why his sign is upside down is because the world is upside down. That's why he put his signs upside down.
There's a lot of people having a meal right now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you believe in parental rights, if you believe in children's rights,
Stop butchering the
if
babies.
you believe that Canada's parents
Kids are not for sale.
Hands-off-our-kids.ca.
Repent, receive Jesus now. Do what's right by God. Keep your hands off of mutilating babies.
Hands off
In
our
Jesus'
kids!
name.
Hands off our kids.
Hands off our kids!
Hands off our kids.
Hands off our kids!
Hands off our kids. Hands off our
As Neil
kids.
said, there are lots of people here on Spark Street
We'll never be
eating their dinner, and it's a good place for us to actually stop and get the message across.
the people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated.
Ladies and gentlemen, handsoffOurkids.ca. Get onto your phones. I know you have phones. Get on those phones right now. We are being censored by Mr. Trudeau and a bunch of corrupt politicians. I need you to go on handsoffOurkids.ca.
HandsoffOurkids.ca.
White hat, gray hat, black hat. I've seen a lot of hats. Yeah, there's all kinds of.
Go on your cell phone, go sign that paper, please.
As parents, we know you love your kids. We trust in Canada's parents to parent Canada's kids, at least up until the age of 19 days.
18 in Quebec, though.
We're gonna give you an extra year. From inception, right from the
Thank you
beginning.
for listening to us. We're sorry we disturbed you a little bit by your lives, but we just want to say one thing. Hands off our kids.
No, you're not blocked, Ash.
Hands off.
You shouldn't be anyway. I asked my mods to listen to when I say to block somebody. So any mods that are out there, they know that. So don't block anybody unless I give you the word to block somebody.
There are people that are missing the event today because they have a family member that's passed away. But they would have missed it for the world. They're still here, ladies and gentlemen. HandsoffOurkids.ca. Please do it now. Justin Trudeau, shame on you.
On all the down to my eyes, but yes.
HandsoffOurkids.ca. You need to register.
Go ahead, sir. You going up here, Nancy? Oh, probably because I told my mods not. That's one of the things I told my mods not to let people do. Send it to me in an email, either my regular one or the chat media at gmail.com. And of course, the little group of anti-protesters that from the LGBTQ plus alphabet that I'm not going to try to recite it all. I don't remember it anymore. It changes every day. They're a small little group, but of course, Alexa is up there talking with them as usual. Casey's right around the corner here. And police know me. They know what I'm doing, so they. Thank you for the good job you guys are doing today, by the way. And of course, one of our freedom fighters, vehicle sitting right here.
how's your girlfriend? Hey, how's your girlfriend? How you feel It's a cake performer and not a
Or just give it to Anthony. The other option, give it to Anthony. He can send it to me on Facebook.
Hands off our kids! 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 Hands off our kids!
Stop mutilating children!
Ladies and children!
This past leadership traffic
system. Hands off our kids! Don't pay attention to those stories over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, this
Stop with your pedophiles!
politician speech.
Pedophiles!
Hands off our kids!
Hands off our kids!
Hands off our kids!
Hands off our kids!
The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated.
The people united.
Yes.
Got a lot of those.
Oh, they're sick, man.
Yeah,
Anybody who thinks it's okay to butcher a baby, he's a pedophile.
And of course, everybody is entitled to their own opinions. You know, like I can't disagree with her on that one, to be honest. That's it for the march, everyone.
And the free dental. Best example of people who need free dental right here.
Just keep going, guys. They're not worth it. Come on, let's go. Keep going. Come on.
You're God-given right, buddy.
Boys and girls.
I love boys and I love girls.
Me too. I love the boys. And you're either a boy or you're a girl. Right? There's no such thing.
A cis man over there, apparently. What is a cis man? Somebody doesn't know what they are, right? He says he's a cis man. Well, does that mean he's cis? He's cis. He's sick of the system.
Yeah, that must be that.
Must be that. That would be my definition. But of course, they are entitled to their opinion. They're allowed to say what they want. But of course, but they definitely need help. That's for sure. I mean, there are two genders, one male and female.
Kids alone.
You want to know something that most people are
All right. Well, I probably am going to end it here for now. So I've been live for one on the march. The march is done. There's some more speeches, but I need to take a breather. So I'll end this. I may pick up with a part 2. So just stay tuned. I may not be on StreamYard, so I won't be able to do little interludes and stuff like that and highlight comments, but that's how it goes. I am the Chad.
And then we'll go.
Hey Charlie, yeah. Can I get a I am not the Chad from you?
Say what?
Can I get a I am not the Chad?
I like John Candy. I like the Blues Brothers. But I am not the Chad.
All right, but I am the Chad, and I'm out for now. Peace, love, and freedom, everyone. And remember, go to well, I'll make sure the website's up there again. It's through the thing, you know. What was the website for Camille? Do you remember, Luke? For Camille? Okay. I'm just ending my live. That's why I was trying to bring it back up, but my mind went blank. All right, I'm out. Hands off our